welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today I am talking about the top 10 scary glitches in the Matrix that will make you question your reality. So basically moments that have made a person question the reality of their entire existence. No big deal. Some of these stories come from Reddit, some of them come from the news, some of them come from science, and there are even a couple of my own in this list, so stay tuned for those. If you guys have ever had your own scary Matrix moments, then be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to read them. This is quite a big video with lots to talk about, so I've left sources in the description box so you can check out and do some extra reading if you want to. You can also find links to social medias of all of the people that went into making this video in the description box too. Please do leave a thumbs up and stick around to the end, it makes us feel good. Thanks. Alright, coming in at number 10. So this is a combination story from a Redditor and me, because I had something really weird to add that happened to me, and it had a really strange ending. So, starting off, Spirity posted on Reddit in late 2018 saying, "I stopped at the gas station on my way to work one morning. I took out my debit card and I took my car keys with me, and I left everything else in the car. I prayed for my stuff as I threw my debit card in a metal cup I have in my car. Literally half a second later, I looked down and my card was gone. I pull apart everything trying to look for it and I simply couldn't find it. I go to work and go home and find it sitting on my desk." So weird. I double checked my bank account to make sure it was the card I used, and it was the card I used in the gas station. To this day I have still no idea what happened. Now this got nearly 3,000 upvotes, and they added an edit to this. They said, "Wow, this blew up overnight. To answer most questions that I saw, no, there was no carbon monoxide leaks. We have a monitor in our house, and that was the first thing I thought to check. I didn't pull up to a pump, just the normal parking in front of the QT, and was there for maybe 7 minutes in total. No conclusions in my life ever." So I wanted to continue on with this story because I had my own very weird credit card, debit card experience. So in April this year I lost not one but 2 debit cards. Now I am chaos, you should absolutely know that about me. Every day is a battle against the chaos, and I really do try my best, I really do. Sometimes I do lose things though, and I lost my debit card for the first time in April. Honestly, I had no idea how it happened. I was probably just, going about my life. I was in the mall last I remember doing some shopping, and when I get home I was unpacking and I went through my purse and it just wasn't there. I went back to the mall, no one had seen it. Fine. Chaos, like I said. I accepted this and I decided to go and get a new debit card and try harder. 1 week later I went to Banff. Now Banff is literally the most magical place I've ever been in my life, and I want to return really badly. I loved it. But I did lose my debit card there, which kinda sucked. I was on a trip and I couldn't get to a bank to fix it, and I had to borrow $20 off one of the trip organisers, so thank you, Michelle. I looked everywhere for it, trust me, like literally everywhere. I turned my hotel room inside out. I turned my purse and bags inside out. It was nowhere to be seen, and I concluded I must have lost it somewhere in the snow of Chateau Lake Louise. It was really annoying because I just had that $20 that I borrowed to last me for a 6-hour journey home, and that's that. The next day I went to the bank in Toronto and they recognised me from losing my card the week before. I was really embarrassed and ashamed of myself. I am a grown woman and I can't stop losing things. Nonetheless, they gave me a new card anyway, and I unpacked all my stuff from Banff and I still never found it. Fast forward 3 months and I got my new card out of its usual place in my purse, and I tried to pay for some stuff in a board game cafe. Yes, board game cafe. I'm a geek for life and I love it. So, come at me with Settlers of Catan, and no, I won't trade for your sheep. Anyway, my card got declined and I was really confused because it'd just been payday, so I knew I had some cash. I took it to a cash point after that and it showed me my balance, but it wouldn't let me take anything out. I even called the bank, but they said there was nothing wrong with my card. Now this went on for days until I looked through my purse and I saw, weirdly, another debit card. It turns out the card that I've been trying to use was the one that I'd lost in Banff 3 months before. Somehow it was back, and I really can't explain it. Can you help? Honestly, so long as I never have to go back to the bank and tell them I've lost another card again in my life. It's all good. Coming into number 9, we have the double wife. This one came from the trusty Reddit glitch in the Matrix thread. White Zombie Cat shared their story, which got 3.4 thousand upvotes. They wrote, "Oh, I've got a story. One time my wife and I were coming back from a dinner night out. When I opened the door of the house, she was sitting at the computer working, as I usually find her when I get home. To me this was nothing unusual, except for the fact that she was entering the house with me. Weird. I shrugged it off, assumed I was tired, and I carried on. We went to bed and I told her that I'd saw her sitting at her computer, but she went deadly serious and told me that when I opened the door, she'd even seen herself sitting at the computer. That is alarming. Coming into number 8, we've got Elon Musk. Oh, Elon. I don't know if you guys know this, but Elon Musk thinks that we're living in a simulation, and so do a whole host of other scientists. If you guys haven't heard of Elon Musk, then you must research him. He's an important figure in our generation. He's ranked the 40th richest person in the world and within the top 25 most powerful, so he's a guy worth knowing about. He, amongst other scientific brains, have said that the universe behaves mathematically and is broken up into pieces, rather like pixels in a video game. Musk offered a simulation theory as an answer to why we haven't met aliens yet. He said, the absence of any noticeable life may be an argument in favour of us being in a simulation. Like when you're playing an adventure game and you can see the stars in the background but you can't ever get there. Well, I mean, does he have a point? Rumour has it that there are actually 2 tech billionaires currently engaging scientists to work on breaking us out of the simulation right now. So who's running this simulation? Some people think a post-human civilization are doing it. Basically, long story cut short, the theories say that computers have taken over and they're keeping us living in a simulation out of the way. The theory goes that the simulation isn't a perfect utopia in order to keep us busy. When there are problems right in front of us, we don't have time to wonder whether we're living in a simulation, except Elon is, so you failed, post-human civilization. Anyone still with me? Next up at number 7. In October 2011, the Daily Mail ran a story claiming that Amanda Knox had had her murder conviction appeal rejected. The article read that Knox had, and I quote, looked stunned this evening after she dramatically lost her prison appeal against her murder conviction. The report came from Nick Pisa, who is in Italy reporting on the case. Only she won the appeal, and the Mail was accused of fabricating an article to run had she lost, and they published it in error. The article made claims including this, and I quote, following the verdict, Knox and Solecito were taken out of court, escorted by prison guards into a waiting van, which took her back to her cell in Capan and him in Perugia. Both will be put on a suicide watch for the next few days as psychological assessments are made on each of them, but this is usual practice for long-term prisoners. But like, that never happened, so were the Daily Mail guilty of fabricating a story to publish, and had the judge's decision gone that way? Well, it seems there was an article on NewsThump that claimed that the Daily Mail actually insisted that they publish the correct article but had witnessed events in an alternate universe. It turns out that actually this was a joke, but maybe there's something to it. Coming into number 6, we have the missing hour. Do you ever wonder where time goes? I certainly do. Bear that in mind when we hear this story from Musical Moses, who posted it on Reddit. They shared this 5 years ago and had a whopping 4.7 thousand upvotes. They said, 10 years ago I was returning home from a road trip with 2 friends. I received a phone call from my parents asking when we would be arriving, and I explained that we were roughly 25 minutes away. About a minute later we came around a bend. It was a full moon and we could see the reflection from a lake below us. We also saw that the road was completely empty. Suddenly, everything went very dark in the car. No lights from the dash or gauges or headlights on the road. The music also stopped and then restarted at the beginning of the CD that we were listening to. There was now a vehicle pulled over by the police about a quarter of a mile in front of us that hadn't been there a split second before. I assumed that because I was tired I dozed off for a second and it was late. I thought it was still quite peculiar though. After about a minute, the driver of the car turned the music all the way down and said, "Did that just happen to anyone else?" The other passenger in the back seat sat forward abruptly and exclaimed, "Oh my god, I thought I just fell asleep." We then realised that the clock in the car was reading an hour later than it had just a minute before. To keep ourselves from freaking out, we decided that the car had possibly had a momentary electrical failure and then reset the clock to an odd time, turned off the dash lights, headlights, gauges, etc. and restarted the CD. It was an explanation. When we arrived home 25 minutes later, we were actually 1 hour late. I'm missing an hour of my life to this day and I have no idea how it happened. So weird. This is another story from me coming in at number 5. We have the overpass. So I'm not sure if this is a ghost story or a glitch in the Matrix story, but there's an area in Toronto where I frequently walk and I've started to think that actually it might be a portal to another universe. Like, I'm not even kidding you. There's a rail path that runs to the west of the city and I walk up and down it a lot, and there's one point always the same point at Bloor and Dundas, every single time I walk up or down the stairs to the path, I swear to you that I see a figure, and sometimes multiple figures out of the corner of my eye walking by the stairs, only when I get there, there's literally no one there. And I'm not sure if it's like a mirage or like some kind of optical illusion that has something to do with the railings nearby, or it could literally be a colluding point of two universes. Universes? Who knows? Coming in at number 4, we have the Bernstein Bears. Now this is also known as the Mandela effect. The Bernstein Bears theory suggests that we're living in a parallel universe, which is pretty mind-bending. Basically, for those who read the Bernstein Bears books, some remember the title being spelled with an E, but others remember it being spelled with an A. The plot thickens as it turns out that some people vividly remember freedom fighter Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 90s, when in reality he died in 2013. Some people think that the popular TV show starring Sarah Jessica Parker was called Sex in the City, but in actuality it's Sex and the City. I could swear that Mr. Monopoly has a monocle, but it turns out he doesn't. Pikachu's tail doesn't have a black tip either, and well, Curious George never had a tail in the first place, and Darth Vader never said, "Luke, I'm your father." And also, it turns out that it's Looney Tunes and not Looney Tunes, and I have no idea when that happened. Are we living in a simulation? Is it a parallel universe thing? Like, what is happening? From mind bending to spoon bending at number 3. That's right, we have Uri Geller, the great spoon bender. Did you know that there are people out there that can bend cutlery using what can only be described as magic? So hands up if you guys have heard of Uri Geller. Uri is somewhat of an enigma. He can bend spoons and other utensils using the power of his mind. His career has spanned 4 decades and he has appeared on countless TV shows demonstrating his skills. So here is Uri quite recently manipulating a spoon.
Yes, it's beginning. You see, the spoon is becoming soft, like plasticine. And if I shake it, it's gonna go. There!
Here he is also bending an iPhone.
Bend. Bend. No, look! It's beginning. It's going. It's going. It's going.
Now he isn't the only one who has this strange ability. It seems that James Randi bent this fork using the power of his mind, and I don't understand. All this has gone down in front of real people, and it sort of reminds me of this scene from The Matrix.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
Coming into number 2, we have a good old story about a cat. Meow. Shared on Reddit in 2018, Punk Terminator wrote, "When I was about 6 or 7, my cat died. It was the first time I experienced death and it really shook me up. Then, about a month later, I saw my cat walk into my room clear as day. I wasn't freaked out and I didn't question it. I reached down to pet him and suddenly he was gone. This happened a few more times until we got 2 new cats. Each time it happened, the fact he was dead never crossed my mind." I Pinch You 2039 responded with, "Cats are so damn stubborn, they even refuse to leave after death." But my favourite comment was from Mikal Rue 0110 who wrote, "God opens the pearly gates. Well, in or out? Cats. I don't know whether they're coming or going, even in death." Wrap your head around this utter insanity at number 1. Get ready though, because this is actually pretty heavy. We have the double-slit. Could all of these glitches in the Matrix that we're experiencing be down to the behaviour of electrons? Electrons are tricky little blighters. According to physicists, electrons can spin clockwise and anti-clockwise, but quantum mechanics says that they can spin both clockwise and anti-clockwise at the very same time, which is really confusing to us because that would mean that 2 things are happening at the same time, which is hard for us to get our heads around because there can only be 1 outcome and not 2. Does that make sense? This creates a paradox as we've never seen 2 things spinning the same way at the same time. Electrons also show quantum indeterminism. Basically, to keep this super simple, if you fire an electron through a double slit, you would expect it to go through one slit or the other, choosing an outcome. However, scientists have observed electrons acting like waves, passing through both slits simultaneously, but then interfering with themselves. It's really complicated, but this could hint towards proving the theory that multiple outcomes create multiple universes and that actually they're unknowingly influencing each other. Some scientists even say that the act of being observed changes the way that electrons behaved, which actually is too mind-bending for my puny human mind. So would this mean that phenomena like the Mandela effect, where people remember different outcomes, are actually interactions with multiverses? Could this explain the Bernstein Bears? Can someone explain this to me, again, so I understand more? Ah, I've bent my own mind. Who needs Uri Geller? Or maybe he's here somewhere. Okay, I'm freaking myself out. So that was that. Have you guys had any weird experiences? Do let me know in the comments section down below. I would absolutely love to hear them. I hope you enjoyed hearing my experiences. If I have any more, I'll certainly let you know. If you like these long form videos, again, do please let me know. Show me you like this one by leaving a good old thumbs up and sharing it with a friend. If you haven't clicked on the notification bell, then do so, because you'll be the first to be alerted to our next top 10 videos. I'm your host, Rebecca Felgate, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!